kind of filling those UWC goals and UWC ideals on your day-to-day basis?
It's interesting you asked that because it's because of that. It's one of the reasons I've chosen to leave next year. And maybe go to another UWC with more scholars, or just develop my work outside the UWC and maybe come back to the UWC family at a later time. It depends what becomes available next year, but it's one of the reasons I've decided to leave this particular UWC, was because at times it's felt more like a private school.
Okay.
With the UWC branding, and it has been lovely to have contact with the scholars and the students that are really quite driven, but there is a small percentage of them in comparison to a larger percentage of students who are not driven by the same mission, I don't think. So with that in mind, and the reason why I chose to come to UWC was to fulfill those things, was to work with students and work on things that do develop peace and foster peace and encourage relationships to be formed across cultures and so on. And while that does happen, and there is a lot of service work towards service going on, and there are a lot of projects going on, for me, I think some of the authenticity of it is lacking. Yeah.
Got it.
So I think my role in it is to try and live the mission outside this setting, because I feel like I'm not living it enough while I'm here. I'm often battling with myself, just saying I live in a ridiculously expensive apartment. Because Singapore is ridiculously expensive, I work in this amazing school with so much tech and so many resources, and for most teachers it would be a dream environment to be in. But especially the last 2 years, I've just thought to myself, what was the reason why I came to UWC, and what is it that I wanted to achieve in doing that? And I feel that while I'm here, I'm not serving as much as I think I can elsewhere.
Got it.
So that's one of the reasons why I choose to leave next year.
It's interesting, because that's going to actually be the last line of questioning, was going to be all about whether or not you plan on staying. When you first signed up, how long were you thinking you were going to stay when you first took the offer?
Long term.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I thought I could be here for a long time. Yeah.
And how come you're staying for a 2-year contract? Is that what you're on?
So it's a 2-year contract. Yeah.
And so you feel like, how come you're staying for the 2-year contract instead of breaking contract and looking for new places, or?
Because if you break the contract, you have to pay your rent still. I can't really afford to do that if I live somewhere else.
There you go. Okay. Cool. That's honestly what I'm looking for, is like, is it the money? Is it the people? Is it, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't really afford, I would love to move and maybe to somewhere like UWC Swaziland, or I've not actually looked at Dilisha.
We just had 2 mass
or
positions
just
open.
Somewhere where there's...
We should have mass positions open next year. Just as a heads up.
Okay.
And you're,
it's good to know.
Yeah, is it East Campus, your East Campus head of residential life or something? I don't know what his Gabriel,
yeah.
I can't think of his last name. He's actually coming over here to be our head. So you do have connections.
Oh.
Yeah. So he'll come over to be our actual head. So do you know him?
I don't know him. See, again, across campus, there's very little collaboration.
Yeah. But, so you will have at least by, at least country or location wise, a little bit of a connection, but yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I just think, maybe I love the idea of UWC mission and its values, and I think, at times I've seen, when I've been traveling, I've seen people wearing UWC t-shirts and just ended up having a conversation. And there've been students at UWC Atlantic, or I met some students. One was from Atlantic and one was from Adriatic, and they'd met at the airport. And I was a UWC teacher and I was sat next to them. We were all on this airplane together. And it was just weird, but also very interesting to hear about their experiences at their UWCs. It seemed very different to my experience here. So I'd like to see what it's like elsewhere. But the reason why I came into teaching was because I was an engineer before this, and it really was just to help kids see the value of education. Being from the UK, so I did teach first and worked in challenging schools. And perhaps I'd go back to that. Because there is a real need for good educators back in the UK, especially in schools that nobody wants to work in. And those are the students that really, really need our help the most. Whereas I know here, and it's real big credit to the school, but it's like, if I decided to leave, I know they'll replace me with somebody who is very good. So I know the students will not suffer at all. Whereas I know in other places that might be more hard. And I think where there's a need is the place where I should be going.
Yeah. Can you talk about maybe a time that the organization made a decision that you didn't expect? Or maybe didn't align with because I know you've said they don't quite align with the UWC values.
I think a decision I didn't expect. Let me see. There have been a few things. Actually, yes. There's been quite an important one this year. A member of staff who has been very supportive since I came. He's a senior member of staff. I think he's been here 31 years. A decision was made for him to leave the school by the previous headship. And I don't know if there had been ongoing issues with him, but as a departmental member, I think he's amazing, and I think he will be missed immensely. I think he's adds so much value to the department. He's got so much experience, and he's like our go-to person. He's not the head of department, but if I ever need anything, I'll go to him. If I ever need to ask any questions, not just about the school or about Singapore, subject-related stuff, advice, he's the person I go to. And last year, I think there was an incident to which the outcome was that he was asked to leave, but he was still asked to see his contract out and given the opportunity to appeal and all of these things. And the students were actually very surprised because he's, one of the best math teachers in the department. So the students created a petition which has been signed by thousands of students, alumni. Anytime alumni come back to school, they always look for this particular member of staff.
Oh, wow, okay.
So he's been here a long time. So, and whenever you speak to students, they just say they love being in his classroom because he loves the subject and he makes them love the subject.